And right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio.
Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want. Every day you're going and working, running that rat race at that pace in that place will leave a bad taste for anyone, everyone working day after day. So buddy, I gotta say, for you, there's gotta be a better way. Yeah, and you do what they told you. Company man, feel it, a mindless little soldier. How can you live like that and maintain your composure before it's begun? Your life's already freaking over. Yeah, I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
So, depression, you know, you can just say depression. And pretty much everybody listening to you will go, whew, yeah. As the great Henry Rollins once said, if you're one of those people that are like, ha, 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 I never get depressed, you're a liar and you're boring. Everybody deals with it. And I don't know if you deal with it in a chronic sort of way or in a clinically diagnosed kind of way, or if you just find yourself getting bummed out, or everybody's been depressed. We've all been there. We all know it. We all, in some way, shape, or form, understand it. We all have an intimate knowledge of depression. Yet, we wind up being so wildly unsympathetic toward it in other people. I don't know. I don't necessarily have as much time for looking after other people with depression as maybe I should, given the fact that I've struggled with it pretty much my entire life. But maybe that's because when I see someone unable to kind of break free of some form of depression, I see a little bit too much of myself in that. Because when I get depressed, when I suffer from depression, I consider it to be a sign of weakness, which it's not. It's chemicals in your body. And there's all sorts of things that can lead to it, both internal and external. Depression is something that we all understand, we all relate to, we all have an intimate knowledge of, yet we seem so unwilling in a lot of instances to recognize it in other people. Now, as it turns out, depression did not kill Robin Williams, according to his wife. Depression did not kill Robin Williams. There was this, narrative floating around ever since he committed suicide that it was depression that led him to it. He'd been clinically depressed his entire life. On and off various kinds of meds, dealing with different forms of substance abuse and all of the above. And a lot of people thought the depression got the better of him. And I don't know where that story started, but it was one that the public and the media seemed happy to keep alive. Most people think Robin Williams committed suicide because he was depressed, but Susan, his widow, says that's not the case. She said it was actually a condition called Lewy body dementia, which they didn't even know he had until after his death. She said that depression was about one of 50 symptoms, and it was a small one. Lewy body dementia is the second most common neurodegenerative disease after Alzheimer's. And the other symptoms of it include things like fluctuating mental status and hallucinations and impaired motor function. And things got progressively worse, apparently, in the months leading up to Robin Williams' death. He was having these massive anxiety attacks. And he had a, quote, miscalculation with a door that resulted in a bloody head wound. Susan said that after Robin's autopsy, one of the doctors told her, quote, Robin was very aware that he was losing his mind and there was nothing he could do about it. I don't know. Being aware, being a man with a brilliant mind, and then being aware that you're losing it. Saying that depression didn't kill Robin Williams. Well, depression can come from a lot of different places. It can be that clinical depression, which is based on your internal balance of chemicals and it being off. Yeah, there's that. Or depression can be circumstantial. And it can It can set upon you because of external circumstances. And it can actually alter your body's chemistry where it'll make you clinically depressed. And I don't know. I'm no doctor. I'm no psychologist. I'm not any kind of an understanding of the way. I don't have any real kind of in-depth understanding of the way a person's brain works. I just know what I've figured out when dealing with my depression over the years. But I have some knowledge of this. My grandfather was arguably a great man. He stormed the beaches at Normandy. He was British intelligence in the Second World War. He stormed the beaches at Normandy. He was a very large part of that. And he was kissed by de Gaulle. He was a war hero, doing some really kind of awesome cloak and dagger stuff. And then he went on to run a company. He went on to run a company called Reckitt and Coleman. Mustard people. Yeah, that's what he did. That's why he moved to America. That's why I'm an American. But the other thing that made my grandfather great was not so much his achievements. It was the way he treated people. If you talk to people that knew him, they would always tell you he had a magical way of, no matter who you were or what he was talking to you about, you could have been high up in some form of government, or you could have been the garbage man. He had a way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room. He gave everybody his full attention and his full respect. So when he started to deal with his own form of dementia, it was especially tough. We'll talk about it in a second.
In Rock Spotlight, 1970.
Chicago breaks through with their second album, generating 3 top 10 singles, Color My World, 25 or 624, and Make Me Smile. And Simon & Garfunkel released the album Bridge Over Troubled Water. It would win the Grammy for Album of the Year. The single of the same name would also hit number 1. February of 1970, Paul McCartney files a petition with the court to dissolve the Beatles partnership. James Taylor leaves Apple Records and releases the album Sweet Baby James on Warner Brothers. He has a number 3 single with Fire and Rain and receives major publicity as a leader in the wave of new, more mellow singer-songwriters of the time. The Doors get back to the blues with the album Morrison Hotel, which climbs to number 4 on the album charts. In March, Crosby, Stills, and Nash add Neil Young to their lineup and have a number 1 album with Deja Vu, which includes 3 top 40 singles. And New York hard rockers Mountain released their debut Climbing with the single Mississippi Queen.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1970. Coming up. iHeartRadio goes one-on-one with Mike Rutherford to reflect on the original homemade recording studio, referred to as The Farm.
It was nice. It was originally an old milking shed, which we converted and soundproofed, and I think that's been an important part of our career, having a place you can go and write and record, and if it's not working, you go home, and if it's working, you work till all hours of the morning, and there's no clock watching in a sense. Yeah, it's still there. I still use it.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Mike Rutherford and all your favorite artists.
Like most kids from a privileged white upper-middle-class suburban background, for a significant portion of his childhood, he was pretty convinced he was down. AD on the radio.
Yeah, oh, let's go. Talking that mess, better act like you know. Oh, let's go tonight. Walk away, punk, yeah, bitch. That's right, I know this. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. You're nothing but a punk, bitch. So walk away, yeah, yeah. You've been talking about me for a long time.
So, according to Susan Williams, the widow of Robin Williams, depression didn't kill him. She says that he didn't commit suicide because of depression. He was suffering from Lewy body dementia, which is sort of like Alzheimer's. And a doctor told her, quote, Robin was very aware that he was losing his mind and that there was nothing he could do about it. Robin Williams was a man with an absolutely brilliant mind. It worked in a way that other people's minds just don't. And it worked in a way that allowed him to be unbelievably entertaining on a massive scale to so many people. It was a brilliant mind. And if that's who you are, if that's what you have in this world, your mind. Maybe you weren't some sort of super athlete. Maybe you, I don't know, not the tallest, smartest, strongest, best looking person in the room. But your mind works in a way that other people find attractive. If that's what you've got to, if that is what you've got to, if that's what you've got to offer the world, then to lose that is a tough one. Like I was saying, my grandfather was kind of a brilliant man. British intelligence, stormed the beaches at Normandy in the Second World War, kissed by de Gaulle. Went on to run Reckitt and Coleman, the mustard people. French's mustard. Do you like that stuff? My grandfather would tell you, you're welcome. No, he wouldn't, because he was an incredibly humble man. A lot of things on paper. The Oxford education, the British intelligence work, the running a massive company would tell you that my grandfather was a great man. But what's funny is when you talk about him with people that knew him, when you talk about him with family members, all those things, I suppose, factor in when people say, hey, yeah, he was a great guy. But really, what it all comes down to, what made him great, was the fact that he could be talking to a millionaire, to a head of state, to the CEO of a company, or he could be talking to the garbage man. And he would give whoever he was talking to his full attention and treat them with the utmost of respect and dignity, no matter who they were. He had a way of making absolutely everyone that he came into contact with feel special. And that, I think, was what made him a great man. So it was tough. It was tough when he started to deal with dementia. Now, I was too young to really fully appreciate what was going on at the time. I knew that he was having some issues. I remember, he loved tennis. He loved tennis. He loved to play tennis. He loved to watch tennis. He kept up with it. He loved to watch Wimbledon on TV. And I'll never forget being a kid and watching Wimbledon with him. And, after the match was over, seeing him stand up to shake the hand of Boris Becker, or whoever it was that had won Wimbledon that year. Stood up to shake his hand and offer him some of the peanuts that he was eating as he was happily watching him on TV. Now, it was kind of sweet. It really was. I don't know. I think there's part of your nature as a human being that is evidenced when you're in a compromised position. Like if you wake up in the middle of the night, say you're lying in bed at night and you're woken up by your significant other. If you wake up all crabby, like, oh, what do you want? That's you with your guard down. But if you wake up going, is everything okay? You all right? Don't worry, everything's going to be cool. Can I get you anything? You need a glass of water? Kind of sort of says something about who you are. And even with the emotional armor of his intellect being stripped away from him, my grandfather maintained that kindness of spirit that treated everyone around him like they really, really mattered. Because to him, they did. And as I look back on his story, which I thought of a lot this morning when I found out that another man with a brilliant mind had it taken from him by a neurodegenerative disease. As I found myself thinking of my grandfather after hearing about Robin Williams, I started thinking about what must it have been like for a guy like that. You know that expression, gentleman and a scholar? That's what my grandfather was. He was a gentleman, and he was a scholar. And when he wasn't kind of hazy, I know he was aware of what was happening to him. And I can't imagine that would have been easy in any way, shape, or form. But I noticed as a kid, like, I'd always been told, like, hey, old people, when they get sick, they get cranky. So if they're mean to you or harsh to you, it's not you. Just understand. It's not you. But I remember being around my grandfather at this time. And no matter what he was going through, the evidence of the kindness of his nature was always there. I would see him trail off sometimes, and I would just kind of stand with him as a kid, wait until he came back, or maybe he wouldn't come back for a little while, and we'd go into the other room. But I remember as a kid thinking, I've been told not to get upset when old people that might be sick or older get cranky and yell at me or have a harsh word. And I remember thinking, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what my grandfather's going through. He treats me the same way he always did. And as a kid, I thought about it. As an adult, thought about it even more. For him to keep that spirit of kindness alive in his heart, no matter what he was going through. No matter that, like I said, the emotional armor of his intellect was being stripped away from him. To, at his core, have kindness toward me and everyone around him. It was a real lesson to me. It was a real lesson to me. And it was a lesson to me in that it taught me to be kind to those around me. Because if you didn't know my grandfather, if you didn't know what he was going through, you never would have guessed a lot of the time. Just like the family of Robin Williams didn't know. His wife only found out about this after his autopsy. Doctor told her that her husband was aware he was losing his mind and that there was nothing he could do about it. So it's a lesson to us. At all times, be kind. For everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. Wendy Mass, Candy Makers. All righty then, Funkhauser. What's the title of today's show?
Follow that?
Nah, just, there's no way to change gears, but yeah, just, I don't know.
Let's try.
Go out into the world and be awesome to someone today. Just, that's all I got.
Today's title is the pistol packing, hoodie wearing black man and the cops.
Oh, right. Now we're back into the show. The pistol packing, hoodie wearing black man and the cops. Yep, this happened. An incredibly relevant and pertinent story given the incredible conflict between the public and the police department at the moment, or the various police departments around the country. A young black man carrying a pistol, wearing a hoodie in Arizona was pulled over by the cops, and something big happened. And we'll get into that story in just a little bit. We'll fill you in on how everything played out in this, on paper, very, very volatile situation. After we discuss what's going on in the world in our segment, My Witness News, in no way, shape, or form fair, certainly not balanced. Funkhauser, how are you and what's going on?
Oh, I'm just a little south of perfect.
A little south of perfect?
Just a little south of perfect there.
Have the meds kicked in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Somebody told me yesterday, somebody walked by me in the hallway and they said, "You have a very strange smile on your face today." I'm like, I haven't noticed.
What did you attribute that strange smile to?
I don't know. He caught me at the end of my day and I was hightailing it toward the car, so maybe that's why.
Oh, you had a I'm going home smile on your face.
Bye-bye.
Well, glad to hear you.
So I am
kinda,
good.
You know what? Wait. That's just a testament to that is just a testament to how much this show is like real life. Like other radio shows are like radio show. This is just like, this is about as close as you're going to get to hanging out with two buddies, just shooting the breeze. And I say that because Funkhauser was talking, and I was like, let me just check. I got a text message from my brother-in-law. Okay, Thanksgiving celebrations are happening, and I actually forgot I was on the radio, which might seem like unprofessional broadcasting for a second there, but it's not. It's just a testament to the fact that there's other radio shows that are tight and polished, but this is the closest you're going to get to real life listening to the radio, I think. And you know what? I kind of wear that one like a badge of honor. So, yep. Anytime you need to make subpar broadcasting seem like it's because you care, Funkhauser, that's our go-to excuse from here on in, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Cool.
Oh, you want the news now?
Yeah.
I can get that to you.
Is this not the usual news bed?
No, this is the news bed. Breaking news here.
Yeah, no.
You're not used to it?
What, don't we have another one that...
we have this
let's
one.
See.
We have this high-powered news bed, and then we have this one here.
That's the one that I'm used to. The ba 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 ba. Let's go back to the first one. I like that.
Okay. AMC won't allow fans to dress as characters for The Force Awakens.
Yeah, the new Star Wars movie is like beyond sold out. When the tickets went on sale a couple weeks back, it crashed absolutely every movie ticketing website on the face of the planet. And it's going to be a very crowded situation, obviously. And given what's happened in movie theaters over the last couple of years in terms of public violence and things of that nature, there are some very sort of, I don't know if they're real security concerns, but it's very judicious of them to have these security concerns in this situation. So you're not allowed to dress up. You're not allowed to wear like masks. You can't have lightsabers. You can't have blasters. There's this whole list of stuff that you're not allowed to do when you go see the first installment of the new run of Star Wars movies. And this has people mad because a big part of Star Wars is, dressing like Qui-Gon Jinn or whoever the hell it is you've chosen to. Anyways, so that's not going to be allowed. AMC will not allow fans to dress as characters for The Force Awakens. By the way, where was this rule when that fat guy showed up at the screening I was forced to attend of Magic Mike XXL?
Forced to attend?
Yeah, forced to attend. Although when you think about it, given the fact that it's a Star Wars crowd, thanks to the mouth guards and inhalers, most of the fans are still kind of going to look like Darth Vader. I'll be there with my inhaler too, being like, Albuterol, you're the only thing that can save me. You're my only hope. 2, please. Go on.
Friends of Chris Brown. Friends of the first news. Chris Brown has friends.
Right.
And secondly, his friends say he's addicted to scissor.
Yeah.
Scissor.
In knuckle dragging, woman beating piece of human garbage that should be getting prison raped on a regular basis, but instead he's out on the streets getting money and Grammys news. Chris Brown is apparently addicted to codeine cough syrup, which, like Funkhauser said, is surprising. The fact that Chris Brown has friends.
This is USA Headline News. I'm Melody Burkett. Republican presidential candidate Marco Rubio is well aware that his rise in recent polls will be met with attacks from fellow GOP hopefuls. The Florida senator tells Fox News attacks from Trump about his finances, including use of a credit card, are unfounded.
I was secured under my personal credit and in conjunction with the Republican Party. And every month I would go through the bills, and if there was something on there that was personal, I paid it directly to American Express. And if it was the party's, the party paid for it.
Rubio says recent jabs from Donald Trump, Jeb Bush, and even Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton will not impact the way he runs his campaign. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen is on Capitol Hill talking about the economy. Lawmakers are expected to press Yellen about whether the Fed may raise interest rates before the holiday shopping season. Yellen has long suggested that interest rates may rise as the economy continues its slow but steady recovery from the deep recession. You're listening to USA Headline News. I'm Melody Burkett.
Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Credit card companies lure you in with low introductory rates or low minimum payments. And before you know it, you owe thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It has happened to millions of good people just like you. But here's the good news. Thanks to a powerful program now approved, anyone with $2,000 or more in credit card debt can cut their credit card payments up to half and even reduce or eliminate interest charges altogether. That's right. Our nationwide nonprofit program is helping U.S. residents cut their credit card payments. Call 800-991-6376 now. The call and information are free. Credit Guard has helped over 500,000 people with their credit card debt, and now we can help you. Call 800-991-6376 to see how this powerful nonprofit program can work for you. Bad credit card debt happens to good people. Get free of credit card debt today. Call 800-991-6376. That's 800-991-6376. Again, 800-991-6376.
Trending. In college football, the first playoff rankings of the season were released, and the top four has Clemson at number one, followed by LSU, Ohio State, and Alabama. LSU and Alabama will play this weekend, so one of those teams will be knocked out of the top four come next week. Notre Dame checks in at number 5, Baylor at number 6. The top four teams at the end of the season meet in the playoff to decide who's the national champ. On the field, it was 24th ranked Toledo losing at home to Northern Illinois, 32-27. That is the first loss of the year for the Rockets. NFL news, Tennessee Titans fire head coach Ken Whisenhunt. Titans were 1-6 this season, 3-20 overall under Whisenhunt. The Indianapolis Colts fired offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton, and the Cleveland Browns are expected to start Johnny Manziel at quarterback Thursday night against the undefeated Bengals, with Josh McCown still nursing a rib injury. News from the NHL, Edmonton Oilers forward Connor McDavid, the number one overall pick in this year's draft, reportedly suffered a broken collarbone last night. The team says he'll be out long term. I'm Eddie Garcia.
We are Fox Sports.
Now, a year in rock spotlight from 1976.
It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
In May, Australian hard rockers AC/DC released their international debut album High Voltage. Not exactly a hit with the critics, but it goes on to sell 3 million copies. Also in May, the Steve Miller Band released their album Fly Like an Eagle. It goes to number 3 in the States, boosted by 3 hit singles, Rockin' Me at number 1, Take the Money and Run at number 11, and the title track at number 2. May of 76, New York hard rock band Blue Oyster Cult released the album Agents of Fortune. Their single Don't Fear the Reaper hits number 12 in the U.S. Paul McCartney's band Wings racks up their 4th number 1 U.S. album with At the Speed of Sound. They also score a number 1 hit with Silly Love Songs. In August of 76, the debut album by Boston is released. It goes to number 3 in the States. The lead single More Than a Feeling hits number 5.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more from 1976. Coming up.
And now, the High-Tech Auto Report with Michael Garfield.
Hey, what happens when Henry Ford hooks up with Bill Gates? Well, that's what's happening in the auto industry now as manufacturers are packing technology in all parts of their vehicles. You know, I recently visited Ford's Research and Innovation Center in Silicon Valley to check out the new in-car concepts that are being created. Autonomous driving, that is all the rage. Where cars are going to drive themselves one day. I even saw a smartwatch, very cool, that can connect you with your vehicle anywhere, anytime. It can even park itself in a tight space.
Now, more AD on the radio.
Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me. Back once again, the ill behavior, delivering and giving you a musical savior. Back once again, it's your boy AD again. Nobody rock a party better than me.
Alrighty then, Funkhauser. Again, what is the name of today's show?
The pistol packing, hoodie wearing black man and the cops.
Yeah. What happened when a pistol packing, hoodie wearing black man was stopped by the cops in Arizona? Well, it's kind of a groundbreaking thing, and we'll discuss exactly what went down a little later on in the show. Right now, though, let's roll through what remains of the news in our segment, My Witness News. In no way, shape, or form fair. Certainly not balanced. What is going on in the world, Funkhauser?
J.K. Rowling is reportedly writing a new children's book.
Yeah. The Harry Potter chick, who I thought was supposed to retire after all the Harry Potter stuff was over and done with. And I think she tried writing an adult book, and I don't know how any of that went, but yeah, she didn't manage to stay out of the game for all that long. And J.K. Rowling writing a new children's book. The working title, Harry Potter and the Bottomless Cash Register. Go on.
Cha-ching. Rachel Dolezal. You remember that girl?
Yeah, the head of the Spokane, Washington NAACP that identified, note the sarcastic air quotes around the word identified, as a black woman for years as she was running the NAACP. Really, really kind of crimped the hell out of her hair and it looked like she spent an awful lot of time on a tanning bed. But yeah, what about her?
She finally admitted she's white.
Oh, Rachel Dolezal has finally admitted she's white, huh? Your move, Justin Bieber. Go on.
What do you mean?
Well done.
The LA Clipper guy, Austin Rivers, sports.
Yeah.
He was fined $25,000 for throwing a cushion into the stands.
Wow. $25,000 for throwing a cushion into the stands. I guess a cushion on the seats that the players sit on. I don't know. I just miss the good old days, when a Los Angeles Clipper meltdown simply involved cocaine and a whorehouse. Go on.
The Census Bureau says more than 350 languages are spoken in the United States.
Which is impressive because I can't name 350 anything, let alone 350 languages. Like, that's a lot. That is a tremendous amount. I'd love to see the actual breakdown of it, because I'm guessing that despite the fact that the Census Bureau says more than 350 languages are spoken in the United States, not one of them resembles whatever the hell Sofia Vergara is speaking. I don't know.
I don't understand.
I think her and Charo speak the same language.
Aye.
They speak Kuchi-Kuanese. Go on.
Dentist tops the list of the most dangerous occupations because of the exposure to contaminants, disease and infections, and time spent sitting on your butt.
Yeah. I was actually really surprised. I saw this story earlier. Like, this list of the most dangerous occupations came out, and Funkhauser, before reading this, if you had to guess, what would you say the most dangerous occupation would be?
Oh, man, like iron worker or something? Like Empire State Building builder.
Yeah. Guy that my initial guess would have been like, fireman, cop, some sort of first responder, or maybe someone in the military. I don't know if they included people with military jobs though, because that's a whole other kettle of fish. But excluding people with military jobs, military careers, I would have to imagine like that the most dangerous occupation was probably something where you were consistently in life-threatening harm's way. Like a fireman, like a cop, like some sort of first responder, and even if it wasn't like a first responder public servant type that signed up to put their life on the line to protect others, I would have thought maybe, okay, if it's not those guys, maybe ice road trucker or logger or something of that nature. And no. It's dentist. Dentist tops the list of the most dangerous.
Ow.
That was, yeah. Dentist tops the list. Oh, you know what? I was like, what the hell is that sound? That's a dentist drill, right?
Yeah, Oh, here comes again.
Oh, that's really unpleasant. You know why? I didn't recognize the sound.
Why? Because it's been a while.
Never had a cavity.
Oh.
Never had a cavity in my entire life. Hear that? That's the sound of perfect teeth chopping.
Careful.
I haven't been dealt too many genetic wins in this world. Like, there's not a whole lot where I go, hey, this part of my body is good. Like, that doesn't happen. Or this part of my face, not horrendous. Like, no, I'm your usual face for radio type of guy. But I have to say, I've been genetically fortuitous in terms of the old choppers. So I don't know what the sound of a dentist drill is. That said, I was surprised, like everybody else, to find out that dentist tops the list of the most dangerous occupations. Why? Because of the exposure to the contaminants and the exposure to disease and infections and the time spent sitting in one place. Although, based on those factors, I would have guessed Kardashian family waxer would have been just as high on the list.
Yeah, just 5 more minutes.
Yeah, just... yeah.
5 more
Go
minutes. On. Donald Trump says he's better looking than Marco Rubio and called him overrated.
Yeah, which was a little unexpected because he was responding to the question, would you like cream or sugar, Mr. Trump?
And he officially owns the slogan now, Make America Great Again.
Oh, yeah, he owns it. So keep an eye out for it on hats and T-shirts and bumper stickers and total idiots. Go on.
Jeb Bush released a new campaign slogan, Jeb can fix it.
Yeah. The slogan replaces his former campaign slogan, which is Jeb Bush, 2016. Let's face it, I'm screwed. I wonder about the Trump thing, though. Like, I talked to my dad who lives in Kosovo in former war-torn Yugoslavia, doing human rights work, doing legal human rights work a little while ago. And I talked to him. I was like, what do you think of Trump? And he's like, well, he's ridiculous, but he makes some good points. You know, it's just like, but you know what, it was interesting. You know what my father said about Donald Trump? It wasn't the fact that he was Donald Trump that made him ridiculous. It was the fact that he was like, he seems to be, and this is everybody running for president this time out, my father said about the field of candidates, they seem to be willing to say whatever it takes to keep people on their side for their next 10 minutes, and then are only too free and happy to change it. And I was like, you make a point, Pops.
I guess that I should start by saying that all of this story is true.
iHeartRadio shines the spotlight on Bad Company.
Finally, in 1998, Rodgers and Burrell joined Ralphs and Kirk of the original lineup, working on new music and touring on and off. And in 2005, Paul resumed his solo projects and embarked on a well-received and sonically impressive pairing with former Queen members Brian May and Roger Taylor. They were supplemented on tour by Queen's keyboard player Spike Edney, rhythm guitarist Jamie Moses, and bass guitarist Danny Miranda. Impressive indeed, but this was always known to be a temporary gig. Bad Company celebrated their 40th anniversary in 2013 with yet another tour, and they will always be known as one of the greatest rock bands ever.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Bad Company and all your favorite artists. iHeartRadio shines the spotlight on the Rolling Stones.
Their album Sticky Fingers in 1971 began a string of 8 consecutive studio albums, reaching #1 in the United States. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inducted the Rolling Stones in 1989, and Rolling Stone magazine ranked them 4th on the 100 Greatest Artists of All Time list, with album sales estimated at more than 200 million worldwide. It's been over 50 years, and the Rolling Stones are still a force to be reckoned with.
Keep listening to iHeartRadio for more Rolling Stones and all your favorite artists.
Now, someone who everybody wants to punch in the face. AD on the radio.
I got a tweet from with regard to the Trump Bush thing. Roy tweeted me. You can do that too, at ADSXE, or tweet Funkhauser at FunkFM. He said, Jeb can fix it. Let's make America great. And as long as this doesn't turn into Trump Bush 16. You know, I kind of have to wonder. I kind of have to wonder about I gotta wonder about the Donald Trump running mate situation, only because, well, I mean, usually if you do make it into a situation where you've got, if you do make it into the situation where you've got the nomination and you're running for president, often you pick your vice presidential candidate from the field of other presidential hopefuls that you beat out for the nomination. And I'm going through it in my mind, trying to figure out if there's anyone who would be able to be Trump's vice presidential candidate, like, without going, I gotta really forgive some serious stuff, because like Trump's MO has obviously been slamming everyone, making not just attacking sort of like voting records and policy and stuff like that, really sort of like deeply personal attacks about like, I'm better looking than you are, you're ugly, why would anyone vote for someone with a face like that, Fiorina? You cow. Like, that's basically Trump's presidential campaign in terms of debating and you know, not to take away from the very real issues that he's brought up in his own Trumpian sort of way. But you'd really, I think if you're any of the other Republican presidential hopefuls, you'd really have to swallow a serious amount of pride to be Donald Trump's vice presidential candidate. It's an interesting one. All right, Funkhauser, let's finish up some news, and then we'll talk about the pistol packin, hoodie wearing black guy in Arizona.
Well, German Chancellor Angela Merkel says her country has to increase its role on the world stage.
Yeah, because, you know, when has that ever gone badly? Germany, a buddy of mine lives in Germany, and I really didn't have, you know, I knew Germany as part of Europe, and I guess, you know, from growing up in England, I did run into more Germans in England than you would over here, so I guess I have a bit more experience of Germany and Germans than a lot of people, you know, been there,
I
played
drink
shows and whatnot.
Hefeweizen, so that's my connection.
What is that?
It's German beer, I think, isn't it? Hefeweizen. And I think my last name is German. It means Radio Shack.
Right. I learned one of my favorite jokes from a German.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, what is the similarity between having sex in a canoe and American beer?
What?
They are both effing close to water. A German guy told me that, and yeah, apparently by comparison, it's true. But yeah, the limited amount of experience I have with Germany and Germans, seems like they're a very self-contained country. Like, they kind of sort of don't let you come. They do everything they can. You know, that whole sort of like made in America thing. They really do believe in made in Germany. I mean, you know, when the hallmarks of German engineering are things like BMW, the Bavarian Motor Company. You have a reputation for being able to make stuff in your country, but apparently they're very, very self-contained, and it's not like they have a problem with the rest of the world, hopefully. It's just like they really sort of have found economic strength in their country by looking after their own. That's kind of what they do. They look after themselves first. They look after Germany first. And it's an interesting way they go through life over there. It's very different to how we do things, but I don't know. People are very well cared for with the socialized medicine over there, and the economy is very strong, and they don't really let foreign people get involved in their economy. They're like, it's nothing personal. You're just not German. We have seen your manufacturing processes, and you are like, how you say, you are like a mess that has been warmed up. You're like something messy that is hot. But yeah, no, Germany's an interesting one. I got to do a little bit more research, not offering an opinion one way or another. But I have a feeling that there are some lessons to be learned from how Germany runs itself. And I'm not ignorant or naive enough to think that you can take one country's political system, plunk it down elsewhere, and have it all work out. But in a day and age where you got the Trumps and the Fiorinas and the Carsons, the non-politicians of this world, in a day and age where you have someone like Bernie Sanders, people are feeling the burn, and the burn apparently has to do with democratic socialism. When a word like socialism doesn't get you immediately X'd out of a presidential election in America, and your opponents are a real estate guy, a doctor, and a chick that used to run a photocopying company, you know people are in search of something different. And bearing that in mind, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad idea to look outside of America every once in a while and look at different countries and see what they've got going on that works when we're forming our opinions about these things. Hear me on this. I don't want all these people being like, you German Nazi socialists, you can't wait to send us back. No, I just think that there's stuff to be learned by looking at other people. Other people in this world have created things that work in addition to America. And I think part of what makes America great is our willingness to go out into the world and learn as a young country and learn. Anyways, go on. What else?
Yesterday was National Sandwich Day.
Yeah, did you celebrate National Sandwich Day, Funkhauser?
You're darn right I did, at least twice.
Uh-huh. Good. Glad to hear it. I couldn't believe it at first. I was like, what? Sandwiches? I mean, I like them and everything, but sandwiches get their own day? What a bunch of baloney. All right.
The death rate amongst middle-aged white people is on the rise.
Which is great, because I don't like waiting in long lines to eat at Cracker Barrel. Go on.
A drunken Nebraska woman that broke into a zoo to pet a tiger, and she got bit.
For more information on this story, just Google Darwinism. They'll fill in the blanks. All right, one last piece of news.
Guinness is changing its recipe to appease vegans.
Guinness, the beer, which is apparently very nutritious. It's sort of like a meal in itself, according to Irish people I know that drink the stuff on a regular basis. Shane, Irish guy, when he was here, did he make you go get a pint of Guinness with him?
Well, when I was there, I went to the brewery. I had some fresh Guinness. No, he likes to drink American Budweiser when he's here, or imported Budweiser.
Oh, well, like the German Budweiser. Budvar? That stuff that's actually sort of like Budweiser, but high test?
I
don't know. Well, I'm surprised to hear that Guinness is changing its recipe just to make vegans happy. Mostly because vegans are typically so hesitant to tell others what to do. All right, then.
Checking your email
Let's
again?
talk for a moment. Do what now?
Checking your email again? Thanksgiving plans?
No. Oh, man, I got to make the Thanksgiving plans. Like, my kid sister and her husband, I think, are planning on doing Thanksgiving a little bit early. And,
I hear a lot of people are doing that this year. Christmas, too.
Well, their parents have to, their parents have to fly out. His parents, rather, has to fly out from New York, New York to L.A. And when
it's actually a holiday, it costs a whole lot more. So, yeah.
The show was nothing but sparkling brilliance up until this point. And then the fact that I slept for about an hour and a half last night kicked in. I gotta... But yeah, so apparently we're doing early Thanksgiving, which is kind of interesting because it frees you up for actual Thanksgiving. And I don't know if you want to have two Thanksgivings, but I don't know. It could be kind of cool. When I haven't had actual Thanksgiving in the past, it is like legit rewarding to go, I don't know, serve at a soup kitchen or something like that, do some sort of form of contribution on Thanksgiving Day. That's been some of my best Thanksgivings ever. So maybe on actual Thanksgiving, having eaten the delicious turkey, stuffing, and mashed potato a week earlier with my sister and her husband, I'll go do something like that. I don't know. I do know this, though. What do you think happened when a young black man wearing a hoodie and carrying a gun was pulled over in Arizona? I mean, on paper, that's not a situation that plays out well. But this is what happened. Black man with a concealed carry permit wound up having a lot to say about police officers after he's pulled over in Arizona. He wrote about it on Facebook. Maybe you've seen it. The post is going viral. His name's Stephen Hildreth Jr., and this happened to him on the 27th of October when he was pulled over. And he wrote, "So I'm driving to my office to turn in my weekly paperwork. A headlight is out. I see a Tucson Police Department squad vehicle turn around and follow me. I'm already preparing for the stop. When he was stopped, Hildreth said the officer asked if he had any weapons, to which he replied, "Yes, sir. I'm a concealed carry permit holder, and my weapon is located on my right hip. My wallet is in my back right pocket." He says the officer then told him that he needed to be disarmed for safety reasons. He wrote, "I understand." I unlocked the vehicle. I explained that I'm running a 7TS ALS holster, but from the angle, the second officer can't unholster it. Lead officer asked me to step out, and I do so slowly. Officer relieves me of my Glock and compliments the X300U that I'm running on it. The officers ran his license and returned with surprising news, saying, "Because you're cool with us and didn't give us grief, I'm going to leave it a verbal warning. Get that headlight fixed as soon as possible." Hildreth wrote the following: "I'm a black man wearing a hoodie, and I'm strapped. According to certain social movements, I shouldn't be alive right now because police are allegedly out to kill minorities. Maybe, just maybe, that notion is bunk. Maybe, if you treat police officers with respect, they will do the same to you. Police officers are people too. By far and large, most are good people, and they're not out to get you. I'd like to thank those two officers and the police department in general for another professional contact. We talk so much about the bad apples who shouldn't be wearing a badge. I'd like to spread the word about an example of men who earned their badges and exemplify what the badge stands for. Blue lives matter. All lives matter." Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you so much for being part of our radio family. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do this all over again. In the meantime, tweet us at ADSXE, at FunkFM. Have yourself a good one.
It's cool to turn the other cheek and give people the benefit of the doubt even when they don't deserve it. And sometimes you feel good about yourself for being a better person and doing that. Well, this is not one of those times. I don't think you realize what's on my mind. I've been too nice for way too long. I think I want you to know just what is going on.